んにちは、あゆみです。私のチャンネルはアメリカのファッションやエンターテインメントで活躍している人たちにいろんなアングルからインタビューしたビデオをお送りしています。それでは今日のゲストはロサンゼルス在住の私の友人でもあるモニカ・レイズさんです。彼女は本当にいろんな分野でさまざまな才能を持っている女性の一人です。そして彼女はクリエイティブディレクター、ブランドビルダー、マーケター、スタイリスト、そしてフォトグラファーとしてここロサンゼルスで活躍しています。彼女のインフォメーションはタイトルの下に記載されてますので、ぜひぜひチェックしてみてください。それではインタビューを楽しんでください。
How are you?
Good. So, Monica, we've been knowing each other for 10 years now, like 10 years or over 10 years, right?
Yeah, since more than 10 years.
Right? I don't remember.
More.
Probably, yes, more than 10 years because
Like
of
11, 12 years?
12 years.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Because, you are my sales rep
Yep.
for fast clothing line in the United States, right?
Yes. Yeah. That was very fun. It's funny, I was just thinking about that, like separate from this this interview, that there are people in my life that I met, and I was thinking about the project trade show and how successful that was for you.
Yeah, but
You were so popular.
it was like, that was like a really, really good time.
So when you had Slow, the vintage shop off of Melrose, and then you came to the showroom with Jetty with all of your really cool pieces, and they were so different. Like it wasn't like anything that was out on the market yet, because a lot of them were like vintage remakes.
Mm-hmm.
When you first like showed us the collection, and then you designed the spring collection, which is like these really beautiful what do you call these prints in the front? Like
it's like a Navajo kind of a high density print, right?
Yeah, like puff prints.
Yeah.
And they were so nobody was doing anything like it.
Mm-hmm.
Like no one was doing nobody was doing it.
Yeah.
I think everybody was doing something a little different. Like streetwear couture was really big back then.
Mm-hmm.
And you brought in more of like I don't know if I want to say bohemian, because it was but it was like a bit of like, it was like two colorways and these vintage colorways, like cream and vintage black,
right,
with these like really beautiful fringe at the bottom, at the end of like these tassels, and the cool puff print, colorful print, and it just like stood out to people. So I think a combination of like the designs that you created, which is like coming out into the market for the first time officially, like out into the mainstream. And then our showroom, which I had an active account list of like over 700 accounts, but most of them were either like Japan accounts, and then a lot of other, like I would say my account territory was 60% Japan, and then 40% US territory, and then some in Europe. And when the owner of the showroom booked out the spaces at Project, they gave you a very great location, like right on the corner.
Yeah, right on the corner. I remember.
Right on the corner.
Yeah,
so it was like
really good.
It was inevitable. Like people had to stop and see it. You know, like it was a booth that you like at least every single buyer that attended Project would see at least once.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really good. So that was like a good that kind of helped a lot. But then also just like the simplicity of the booth, while everyone kind of went a little crazy, like the simplicity of the booth and the elegance of the booth, I think that's what brought everybody's attention. And everybody stopped at the booth. And then my friend Sarah was helping me. She's assisting me in sales, and she's we wore the garments and we just like played the part of like what it would be like to be in your designs, and everyone wrote. It was crazy. I mean, it was crazy. It was a 3-day show. It was the busiest 3-day show. We didn't eat, didn't use the bathroom, like ever, always writing orders. And then other brands were like, can you be my rep? I'm like, I don't think it has to do with me. I think it has to do with the fact that I get to represent a really beautiful collection.
Well, I think all combination,
Yeah, I think it was the combination of just like, but also too, it's like, when you have a brand and then I think when you have a brand and then you have a rep, it's kind of like having a sense like you have a rep that believes in the brand, so that's number one. And then you have a rep that looks like someone that would wear the brand, so that's number two. So I think like I think you chose, I'm not saying me, but I'm saying like the people that helped was you chose wisely as far as like how that works. And then fashion is a very like, it's all about aesthetics and it's all about like what's marketable. So I remember at the time, like a lot of like Native American, Navajo, Azteca, Santa Fe type style was very in at the time before, I mean, this was like what year, 2011?
When was it? 2012?
Yeah, 2012 or, oh yeah, so 2012.
Right.
Yeah, 2012, 2011 maybe. One or the other, but it was like it was for spring. Yeah. And I think you set the market, the tone for that. Like there's some interest in it, like that rustic and desert type of vibe. But I don't think people really like grasped it, like at the time it was like glam and like studs and weird, like just like it was just so different. But what you brought in was like this really beautiful elegance and introduction to like a beautiful world that people can start exploring, and yeah, it was really beautiful. And then people just started copying you. So that was like, like a year later, people just started doing remakes of what you did. But that's just fashion sometimes. So Japan market seems like it's about silhouettes. It's about shape and silhouettes. Like when I went to Japan 2017 or 2018, and then I went again in 2019. The style is really more about like it's either vintage and it's somewhat timeless. So like they use it's like kind of like this billowy, beautiful shape. Like even like this isn't from Japan, but like pants like that are like big, or just like loose fitting. It's not about sexuality, or it's not about like I think to me
look
unisex looking, like genderless, unisex looking, and very uniformed. Like it seems as though like there's a specific style that the Japanese culture, like it's like, oh, this is cool. So like big, like I'd say like oversized khaki pants and like maybe like an oversized like sweater and then a cute hat, and like they always have like these cute scarves, or cute glasses, big tote bags that has like really cool graphics on it. Whatever like the Japanese market is supporting within that time frame, and it feels as though it's like there's this diner in Tokyo called the Breakfast Club. So it kind of reminds me of like everyone's in a really cool club. Like everyone, even like the older, the elder are so stylish. Like every detail is like from like the polka dot scarf to like how the fabrication of that to the jewelry to the collar to the button to the shoe to the sock, like everything has a purpose in its form and aesthetic and design, and it's their own expression, you know. The US market has a different form of expression. It's more like individuality, and that could be like it's not good or bad, but definitely it creates like division within all of us, right? So like I was listening to a song today that my partner was like, I don't like it. I was like, but I like it, you know? So people have everyone in the US, people have very strong dislikes and strong love. So it's not, I love it, is I'm obsessed with it. That's US culture mind. Or I hate it, a strong dislike. Japanese culture, to me, from what is like, this is beautiful and I need to have it. Or this is beautiful and this would look, this is a really great collector's piece, you know? This is beautiful and this is timeless and will age appropriately. Only a small market, like I would say when the Rose Bowl flea market was open and like, you know, or like a lot of like the vintage collectors or the curators or the remakers or the ones that were like really truly like love the art of collecting and curating and designing and finding all those beautiful silhouettes that you can't find anywhere else, or these beautiful like fabrication, remaking it and whatever, like only a small percentage of that exists in the US market. Only a small percent. The mass market of the US, the mass percentage of that is all fast fashion.
Right.
So whatever is easy, whatever silhouettes are going to be easy to make, where we can eliminate a pattern maker, and whatever fabrication we can get cheapest, fastest here or in stock or whatever, and what we can sell fastest, whatever we can knock off the fastest, who can knock it off the fastest, who can buy it the quickest, what retailers or chain department stores or discount stores will sell it quicker, or do a remake of that, or take your off goods and sell it. It's all like a weird trade of sorts, but it doesn't have artistry. There's no artistry in the trade of fashion in the US market unless you're really tapped into the small percentage of what I discussed.
Interesting.
So that's the difference. I feel like Japan, it's like, if I was to do like ink blot, right, on like paper, whichever, I feel like the ink of creative artistry would just expand, you know, quickly throughout Japan, because it's a part of their truth, you know. In the US, it's more about like, what can I get now? It's high demand, high supply. What can I get now? And quality doesn't really matter, as long as it's made in the US. But even if it's made in the US, it doesn't mean that it's made with great quality, you know? So like even imported like supplies and materials are, you know, it's all imported or nationally either way. So it's very fascinating how like the US versus like different culture is, you know.
It's completely different.
Totally different.